I want to ask you a two-part question, and then I want to bring Anna into this. One, just to pull out one more 9/11 parallel and to understand the threat to the homeland, are the lights flashing yellow?
Oh, well, I mean, goodness, I deployed 10 days after 9/11, right? So I have this sort of, I guess I'm uniquely sensitive to the issue of terrorism, whether it's foreign or domestic terrorism. I'll just tell you that. Obviously it is. And I try to identify with people, like you saw the crush of people that were there. You saw that pipe bombs were laid there. We know that there was radicalizing or language, based on the Great Awakening, right, that you had to take out political leaders, right? That language is there, Nicole. I'm sure Clint and Anna have seen it too. The Great Awakening, taking out the leaders, taking back our government. That is mobilizing language. That is a call for a response. My issue is you're going to see that response more and more when you're talking about some of these groups. But, and this is a long conversation I'd like to sit down with people with, in the terrorism field, is how many people do we deplatform and what can we actually see? And if we're looking at encrypted image boards, we're looking at MeWe, we're looking at Zello, we're looking at Telegram, we're looking at Signal. How do we actually go in and look at the command and control structures with the deplatforming? And where's the balance? Where do we deplatform, or where do we allow some of these chuckleheads, right, to continue to actually look at things so we have insight into what's going on? So that's some of the issues that I have with that, is that, of course, it was flashing yellow in November when Stop the Steal rhetoric exploded, and when we saw this, and really it was flashing yellow back in June of 2020, right after the Michael Flynn oath, when we saw this rise, the WWG1WG oath by Michael Flynn, we saw this incredible rise and individuals using very strong language. And that's when it was a year ago when I first started yelling about it. But it was right at that June part where I really started to get concerned, and that concern is not alleviated.
And then my last question is why, I understand the intricacies of deplatforming and how that can feel like whack-a-mole. But how is it possible that the two leaders of the Republican Party in Congress don't want to be part of the solution of protecting the homeland from violent domestic extremist threats?
I think it's why I get frustrated. I think it's a completely political calculation rather than looking at what's best for everybody as a whole as far as Americans. And the issue that you have, if you're not afraid to look internally on what's happening with command and control infrastructures or people that are willing to do violence, what political reason would anybody else have to do something like this? And this is well beyond politics. I guess that's what I've been trying to say, Nicole. We're well beyond that. It's well beyond rage. It's well beyond anger. We have to get some answers on how we allowed this to happen. And we did this. This was our problem, and I was screaming about this. And listen, we could have another commission on far left violence and far right violence and the ideologies of polarization and radicalization and violence. Hell, let's have one, right? But on this specific topic right here for January 6th, we had a chance as a country, and I would humbly submit as a party, to nip this in the bud beforehand. And I'm not in that position. If I was in a position of leader, there could be other political calculations. But the way that I'm feeling now and looking at data and my background in intelligence, there is no one good damn reason for us not to do this. And that's just something I'm trying to get my arms around, because I don't know if the political calculation should overwhelm the calculation for what's best for Americans and us trying to stop this in the future.